final of our 3 weight change interrupted is rebote. We've covered traspie, which is a sharp stabbing into the floor. We've covered cunita, the rocking step, which is a soft kind of settling into the floor. The rebote is sort of in between the two.
It's a cross between the two, yeah, absolutely.
Where we do a sharp into the floor and recover. So it's often expressed, we'll fit the music as a quick, slow. So we'll do quick, and then some other movement that comes off of that.
Slowly. The rebote really is a study in contrast, don't you think? This is the cool part about this move is that we now get to explore the entire range of movement all within one pattern. We go all the way from a very rhythmical, sharp staccato feeling that allows us to quickly reverse direction and really build up that tension into something soft and squishy and slow and lyrical.
Yes, I love how you expressed earlier to me how we cannot carry the same tone in our body and expect different results. So just the same way as the music is making all kinds of changes, there may be the bandoneon bouncing off the knee and making sharp, high energy movements, and then the violins with a lyrical movement. Just as the music is varying, the tone, the energy within us, we're going to vary so that we can match the feelings that we have for the music.
Absolutely. So to get a feel of what we're talking about, if you're working with a partner, face your partner. If we're working on our own, you can also do this against a wall, against a countertop, anything that provides you a little bit of resistance. So if we are working together, Arjun, how would you move, or what tone would you have in your body to create some soft, swoopy squishiness between us? So as we move in and out.
So there's hardly any pressure on our hands. We can feel skin deep pressure.
Yeah, that's a good way of putting it. Very light. If there's not a lot going on, we don't want to send a mixed message with there being a lot of tone in our body.
Right. And then at the other extreme, we can do things sharply.
Yes. And I felt the tone increase throughout Arjun's embrace, his frame. But really the movement, don't be deceived. He's not literally jerking me around with his hands. His own body is moving in and out of the embrace to create that as well.
Ideal partner, the wall, for example, in the earlier module about grounding, where we use this little experiment, this exploration, the wall gives us exactly the same amount of pressure that we're giving it. And with a responsive partner, they sense that pressure growing and how fast it's growing, and they respond to it in kind.
Yes. This is also a great exercise as you go back and forth between something soft and squishy, more like a cunita movement, to something sharp and stabbing. This is also a great way of working on matching your partner's energy, because as a follower, if I don't increase the tone in my arms to match what my partner is giving me, then it is too easy for me to be overpowered by what they are doing.
Right. And you may have noticed too the general principle that when we're doing things sharp, it's going to be smaller. When we're doing things in a soft, lyrical fashion, then it can be larger.
Yes. So that's a great experiment to kind of get you started to work on the range between those two energies as well as tones. Let's get into some rebote.
Yeah.
Sorry. Were you going to say something?
I was going to say exactly that. So
Perfect.
let's move it to the floor.
Yes.
Let's use the floor as our perfect partner. So instead of my hand, I am using my foot to send that energy into the floor and then back. And by the way, it might be clear to see it this way. The rebote is the linear rebote. We'll also, when we get into pivots, we can see examples of a circular rebote. But a linear rebote is as if I'm stepping onto hard rubber on the floor. Notice with a straight leg, it's not a stiff leg, but it's a straight leg, because if I relax the knee, then it's going to turn into a cunita. So with a stiff leg, I hit the floor and then immediately come back onto my other leg on axis.
So that's the quick part of it.
Right, which is, by the way, the rebote is often used as a primer for another move. It gives us energy to reverse, to go into reverse and carry out some other kind of move. Mm-hmm. And that follow-up move, we've done 2 quicks, we often then would want to relax and release that tone, that energy, to do something slower.
Yes.
May I demonstrate?
Please.
We had 2 examples there, and the first one where we did the coming up. It's a good example of using the rebote to reverse direction. Mm-hmm. We also then had an example of repeating the rebote, which can be a fun thing that really fits rhythmical music. There'd be that dun, 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 dun.
So once we get into this fun pattern, oftentimes it's hard to break out of it. How do we typically end that repeating one? What intention are you feeling?
We're automatically on axis at the beginning of the move, depending on how we want to continue from the rebote. So we make that step, bouncing off the hard rubber and back onto our axis. From that point, we can then have all of the range of possibilities of moving our free leg in the cardinal direction, just stopping to collect our thoughts, or coming into collection, giving a new weight intention, and then continuing across the floor.
So when you are working the transition between your quick, fast movement of the beginning of the rebote, boom, boom, into the slower movement, be aware of allowing that energy to dissipate. If we stay low and stay fast and then try to slow down at the tail end of that, it makes it a little bit harder for our partner to follow through on what we are communicating. So as soon as we want to allow that, this is why it's kind of a study in contrast, because we have something sharp and quick, but then as soon as we begin that slow movement, that transition backwards, we want to let everything relax. We want to let those lungs fill with air. We want to let all of that energy and tone that we're holding on to and capturing for the beginning part, letting it go. And your partner should really feel the difference in your embrace and in the energy in your body between the 2 movements.
Let's go now to practice. Same kind of things apply here as they did for the traspie and the cunita. That is, if you are working solo, you'll want to put on some music, as Tina suggested, and play with it. What are the parts in the music that say to me that kind of movement? Use it wherever you feel that it fits, and then play with any continuations you might make from that movement.
Mm-hmm. Another fun thing that you can do is really play with the exaggeration of size. Can you make your rock step teeny tiny and then a giant slow step? Can you push that rock step to be bigger and bigger and still maintain the same timing? Sometimes it's fun to really find out what works and what doesn't within the timing as well as the music.
Right, because you want to know where your resourceful range is, something that you can comfortably, easily do in your own self and convey to a partner.
Yes. And speaking of conveying to a partner, just like anything, any type of movement that changes direction, we touched on this in cunita, we'll touch on it again. Make sure that you maintain the shape and the tone of your embrace within the reverse of direction, because all too often it's easy to think about what you are doing and what you're trying to accomplish, but really we get the best results when we try to think about what is it going to take for both of us to accomplish this and move together.
Right. And getting into the rebote, that's often a time, because of the quick, slow nature of it, that we want to give some advance warning to our partner. One of the ways we do that is described as kind of taking a breath, giving a moment so the partner realizes something different is coming up. Otherwise, if we carry the same intention, our partner reasonably feels like we're going to continue doing the same thing. We want to respectfully give our partner a heads up, say, hey, I'm going to do something different here.
Exactly. It's kind of like driving. The more communication that you can give to your fellow drivers by using things like brake lights and blinkers and headlights, and the more that you can communicate where your presence and your intention to everyone else, the better they are to respond to that.
I love that analogy, because if you're driving, you're coming up to a stop sign or a light, you don't immediately jam on the brakes.
Let's hope not.
Right. Presumably, you're going to first take the foot off the accelerator, and that's going to be felt as that breath that we talked about. Mm-hmm. That, oh, something else is happening, now we put on the brakes.
Exactly.
Or now we do something exciting. That covers the 3 whip changes interrupted. Traspie, the cunita, and now the rebote. Next, we will try with those features in the music. How did we put the music? We'll see you on the listen card.